Welcome to Deep Thought, the power of a creative. I'm going to tell you what. I talked briefly about power, well, not briefly, in my previous podcast about politics being a tool for power. I'm going to tell you what. Just having a creative mind on its own is powerful. It's powerful. Indeed, connecting to the politics discussion. That's why in most of the world, when there's a coup d'etat, some of the first people arrested are writers and journalists, artists, because of their power, who they can influence. Like, if we talk about influence, think about the power of a writer. Think about the power of a writer. If you look at many political systems in the world, let me use one, communism. Even though I think that's overblown, look how powerful it was for many years, many decades. The power of it, like the Soviet Union and, China, even though they increasingly capitalistic now. But think about the power of one man, Karl Marx, his ideas. See, a creative, just as a writer, can create ideas. Ideas that become action can make change. A simple creative person, just in that way, they can create something. They can create something, even if it's fiction. Like there's all this talk about black relationships, the black love industry and all of that. I remember, even though there were many books and everything, I remember back in the 90s when Terry McMillan, she wrote that phenomenal book. People have different opinions, but it had a major impact, Waiting to Exhale, about 4 black women looking for Mr. Right. That actually, the power there, not just making her money, but it influenced an entire industry. A lot of people made money. A lot of people got big during those days. Indirectly, that's how I got started. Because when I wrote my first short story, my first published piece, The Perfect Man, many women wrote it and they were affected, but the whole thing was roughly about relationships. And even though I wrote it more from the man's point of view, a man who was putting on a mask for 2 different women, many women, they saw it more from their perspective of them even going for that mask. But if you think about it, the catalyst was Terry McMillan. Like an artist, just a writer can create a lot. But let me talk about another type of creative, a musician. Music is powerful. Music is powerful. Any form of music is powerful. If you look at the music industry, how much is affected by music? That's how powerful it is. I have music in the background. Think about it. A good musician. And then, on my business channel, I talked about creative industries. Architecture, that's a creative industry. Architect can affect the look, the mood, and everything of whole cities. Think about it. Think about it. Whole neighborhoods. Like, say, an architect designs a certain type of house, and they build the house in a certain area, buildings, everything. Because the thing with the power of creative, not only are they creating, but if they're in a position to influence, they actually move people to a great degree. Let me say that again. They move people to a great degree. Think about how far they can go. A creative, look at, on my business channel, I talked about creative industries. A creative can actually create jobs, can create so much. Think about just a creative YouTuber. How many people do they influence? How many people are moved by what they say? How many people, if the creative influencer says, hey, buy this product or do this, behave this way, and they follow that person, think about it, you affecting lives. I want you to think about that. And here's the thing about it. It's just coming from within you. It's coming from within you or within the creator, the creative person. I mean, how do you it's like they're not dependent on anyone to give them the idea ultimately. Now, they can be influenced to have the idea and they can think about it. But think about if they just create something just a totally different way, a totally different mode of behavior. I want you to think about that. Think about it. I mean, think of it. It's powerful. It's powerful. I'll use myself for an example. I think about everything, the life I'm living now, the people who've been positively touched by what I've done. And you think about it, the creativity stemmed from me just wanting to write. Back in 1990, well, I had written some like a play in college, and it's more like skits, and then had someone else added the music and everything to it. Some other stuff. It's a collaboration. And I was just thinking about it. I was just like, wow. But when I first started publishing, I didn't see all of this. All of this comes from writing. Everything I'm doing now comes from writing. And I'm just like, wow. And then when someone comes back to me and says, hey, they starting to go to school again, they doing well, they're in a happy relationship, it's just like, wow. This because the creative is so important. We need, like I said, in countries that may have a coup d'etat, might want to change the government, the first people they go after are the creatives because they know the power there. They know how these people can influence others and stuff. Plus, it competes with the power of the people trying to take over. Yeah. I want y'all to think about it. And think about something else. I gave a clue to something very powerful. I gave a clue. Something very powerful that even the days don't want to face. I want y'all to think about that. Really think. And I would say this. If you got any creativity you have within you, bring it out. That's why on my Sunday videos, or my Sunday inspirational videos, I talk a lot about gifts and talents. You don't know who that can affect. So, I want y'all to think about that. And y'all have a great weekend. Talk to you on Sunday. Peace and blessings.